Hi there, welcome to my beautiful home here at the Bristol Old Vic. This is what we've been spending your Kickstarter money on. I mean, in a way, it was a waste of time. Not really. Welcome to another RHLSTP, this one with the fantastic Russell Howard. And we're on tour at the moment. If you would like to come and see us, then look at richardherring.com/gigs or rhlstp.co.uk/gigs, and you can find out where we're going and who's going to be on. We've got fantastic guests like Sarah Pascoe, Grayson Perry, Limmy, fantastic people coming up. So do come along if you can. We're also got the Kickstarter going. It's getting close to the target. We really need more than the target if we're going to carry on filming all of these shows. And go to rhlstp.co.uk/Kickstarter. The cameraman just bumped into a table and it made me laugh. That's all that's happening there. There's some fantastic rewards. We got these trump cards that you can play a full game of trumps with my favourite guests. Stickers, badges, t-shirts, the lot. It's going to be amazing. Please support us if you can, because if we don't hit that target, we get nothing. Now let's sit back, relax, and enjoy RHLSTP with Russell Howard. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to King's Place. Please welcome a man who dresses like this all the time. I don't know what you're talking about. It's Richard Herring. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Lovely to be here. Thank you very much. Welcome to Richard Herring's Lessening Sexual Tension podcast. It's just trying to there's a lot of sexual tension in my podcast. I'm just trying to take it down notch by notch. Why have I started with this guy first? Oh no. It's going to be full of sexual tension. He was asking me to kiss his ears backstage. We'll get on to that. Although I was hanging out at King's Cross Station just now, and I'm just in the queue to get my photo taken at platform 9 3/4. I love it. And a 35-year-old man in a Hogwarts scarf eating Bertie Bott's beans told me he calls it RHLSTP, so I don't know if that's going to catch on. It's a very poor... I actually went on TripAdvisor to see what people said about the... have you seen this platform 9 3/4? It's there. There's a trolley. It's hilarious. I can see why people would queue up for 2 hours to get there. I went to TripAdvisor to see what people said about this. Now, A, if you're going to go to that thing, don't go on TripAdvisor and admit that you've been there. But B, not really worth reviewing, is it? But... someone said, this is a poor rendering of platform 9 3/4. It's nowhere near platform 9 or 10. And presumably when you run at it, you don't go through to a magical land either. Imagine going there and then writing about it. She'd come from America to see it. People queue up for 2 hours. Anyone been? Oh, idiots. Just go. It's £10 a photo, apparently, so don't go. Great to be back in London. Actually, also, platform 9 of King's Cross Station is where Queen Boadicea is buried. So, maybe go and look at that. That's all I would say. That's something actual, some real history. Go and try and find her. Dig her up, you'll make a fortune. So, it's good to be back in London. I've been out doing these gigs in the provinces, and it's not nice out there. So it's nice to be... I put on a brave face. I pretended I enjoyed it, but it was a very unpleasant experience for me. And I'll tell you a few things that have been going on. I've had the locks changed at my house. It's not nothing bad's happened, but having that job done, realising the ease with which a locksmith can gain access to a locked house makes me wonder if any other profession so clearly demonstrates its own redundancy. I'm not sure it does, so I'm going to maybe ask that as an emergency question. Another emergency question I've got, coming off the back of Twitter really recently, is... do you gradually become racist, or do you wake up one morning and it's all in one go? Seems a lot of older celebrities just, I hope it's all in one go, but it'd be a shame to sort of know that it's happening, and looking forward to the day that I'm kicked off Twitter anyway. Hey, that might be all I've got for you now. I felt like I had loads more. Look, we've got a fantastic guest for you. If he has returned, he's going to get himself a Diet Coke. Hopefully he's got it in time. He was last on RHLSTP. Did I do it before? Yeah, I did. In 2012. It was 7 years ago. I can't believe it's passed so quickly. He's grown up so quickly, this little boy. He's probably best known as the teacup sick boy. That's just what he was called at school. I must have done no research for him last time because I was surprised by so many things about him this time. So it's got a lot more professional, this podcast, in the last 7 years. Andy, you probably are here because he used to play for Basingstoke Town FC, and that is in midfield, and that's probably why you are here now. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Russell Howard! Come in, sit down. Hello. Could have dressed up, mate. Could have dressed up a bit.
You look absolutely delightful.
Could have dressed up a bit. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You look like a football agent.
Thank you. I didn't know you were that good at football.
Yeah, I'm all right.
Yeah, but you played like, is it semi-professional Basingstoke Town?
I played for Basingstoke Town Reserves.
Oh, did you?
So, nice, yeah. And I was incredibly proud of myself at the time. But yeah, the more you think about it, I wasn't very good. I'm good.
Well, you were, what, 16 or something, were you?
Yeah,
so you could have progressed onwards?
I'm the best comedian footballer in the world.
Yeah.
But that doesn't really mean anything. So we play football in Crystal Palace every Tuesday with all the comedians, and it's amazing. Like Noel Fielding, very good.
Yeah.
And he doesn't look like you'd imagine he would sort of pick the ball up and start painting on it. Do you know what I mean? And start like sort of swirling around. But he's a horrible footballer, and it makes me like him even more. He's really like put in, you know? There's no hint of baking cakes with him. He's a nasty, nasty thug. Omid Jalili, very good at football.
Yeah?
Yeah, sort of, you know, like a little disco potato. Daniel Kitson, very good at football. You've never played?
I've not played. I played once in Melbourne when the comedians were all playing together. I played then.
This sounds very weird.
It does, yeah. I wonder if it's going to settle, do you think?
I don't think so. I mean, listen, this isn't my game.
Yeah. We've gone for radio mics for the first time.
Yeah.
And, you know, we were worried about it.
And it feels like it's sort of playing back.
Yeah.
And imagine if we have to repeat this gold.
Well, as long as everyone else is happy, it might just sound weird up here because there might be sometimes there's foldback on the stage, isn't there?
Yeah.
Does it sound right where you are? Does it sound weird?
That lady says it was weird, but that might just be the general vibe.
It's weird because I'm wearing a suit, isn't it? It's put you off.
Oh, I've just seen the inlay of that.
Yeah.
Look at that. Oh, why not? Is that?
It picks up there's a little bit of purple in there.
It really makes you look fantastic.
Thank you.
Your hair looks lovely.
Thank you.
Yeah. You're right to arm, Adam, but it looks great.
I've got some hair gel just before I came on, but I squeezed a bit too much into my hand, and then I had to decide whether I was going to dispose of it or get it all in my hair.
I'm really glad you cleared that up.
And it all went in.
Because you came back into the green with sticky hands. And everyone's got a pre-show ritual. But I thought, is he one of those guys? Because you look like you might be a pre-gig. And fair enough, you know?
I couldn't get that much out of it, to be honest. I'm 52. It was, but it is very...
What are your pre-gig rituals? Do you have any?
I don't really have any, really. Do you? Are you quite superstitious? Or
I have a thing, I sort of do this little weird movement. I have to touch a piece of wood, and I have to have a poo.
And because you've touched the wood, or because... Is that just...
No, it's just this weird thing I always have to touch. I mean, this gig's fantastic for me.
Yeah. Yeah, you can just poo in the chair, can't you?
Exactly. Well, so Richard asked me before we started whether I'd ever shit myself in a gym.
Yeah.
And, most people say hello. And I hadn't. And you were surprised by that.
Yeah, very surprised.
And I didn't ask you whether you'd had a...
Well, I'm not saying whether I have or not.
Oh.
It was about whether you've had a shit in the shower. I'll tell you why I asked the question, and why, because I once did. I had diarrhea once in the gym, and
really?
Kind of thought, I thought I'd get away with it in the shower rather than it and, you wee in the shower, obviously, that's a given.
Sure.
But I try,
you should point out, because the world's changed, you're weeing into your... You're not just sort of peeing into other showers.
No. And again, I can't get it over when I was 6, I'd have been able to get it over into the next one. But now, very much, and maybe under. Sometimes there's a little gap underneath. I did a little poo. And even with diarrhea, it was quite hard to get down the old pipe thing.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I guess they didn't really design them for that. So that's why I asked that question. So What's the teacup sick boy? You did explain that to me backstage because you brought it up yourself backstage.
So I was, I brought it up, nice. I was on a teacup ride. Do you know the teacup ride?
I do, yeah. I mean, it's the sort of week... My kids go on teacup rides.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's for 3 or 4-year-olds.
For 3 or 4-year-olds, and I was 12 years old. And what I should point out, I was on a high because I'd been wanked off for the first time.
Okay.
So I was exceptionally excited, and I thought I could take on the world.
Yeah.
So I jumped onto this teacup with this kind of like post-wanked off, look at me, everyone. And everyone else started spinning me around. And I threw up.
Yeah.
And everyone called me teacup. And forgot about the fact that I'd been wanked off. And,
yeah.
you know, but I was 12, it was amazing. It's like, I know there's a real air of, but, I mean...
It depends who wanked you off. If it was the bloke who ran the ride.
Sure.
Then this is a very different story.
The funny thing is, I'd have been glad of the attention. But, no, it was a young lady.
Yeah, good.
She was a year older than me. It was fantastic. And again, there's that weird tension, but I was 12. It was wonderful.
Yeah.
And it was ruined by me being sick on a fucking teacup.
Well, it was a very exciting day for you.
It was brilliant until that moment. Yeah. Can change my diary entry that night.
I talked to your sister about you.
Oh, yeah?
She was on my podcast.
Yes. And I was really pleased because you were... What's that?
Someone's at my door at home. Do you want to see who it is?
I'd love to see who it is. That's the woman that whacked me off!
It might be...
Oh, is that your house?
That's next door, though.
All right, I was going to say, lovely.
Yeah.
Does your house look like that?
Looks better than that.
Fabulous.
That's next door.
I mean, we're going woo, but someone made it into your house.
What someone has just walked past there.
Oh, is that what happens?
Yeah.
And
So sometimes it
it
goes
jingle jangles?
Yeah, I turned it off on my watch, but not on here.
Nice.
Got a couple of emails.
Do you want to just check your wife in case she's getting trussed up, tied up to the radiator? That's going to be awkward.
She's at Pilates at the moment.
Fine, fuck it.
So it'll just be the babysitter. It'll be the babysitter who gets into trouble, so that's fine. Airplane mode, we should be okay.
Lovely.
I'll stick that down there.
So we haven't checked the sound and your phone's...
It's going great. Yeah. It's going great in the new environment.
I'm loving this. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
So you spoke to my sister?
Yeah, and you bullied her quite badly.
That's because I'm her older brother. That's fine.
But and also your younger brother. She's a twin, right?
Yes.
So
yeah.
you've got a brother.
So she's the middle one technically.
Right. So she's the older twin. She got bullied.
She's
by
the older twin
and the older brother.
Not bullied, but
she used to shoot footballs at her head or something.
No, she went in goal. And listen, I like to ping him in, and yeah, that was just. Why am I getting bullied for this? Yeah, we should play football and kick the football out. We had a doll that we used to dunk in the toilet, and that was, mean. But I love the fact that there's tension in the room, like none of you were ever mean to your fucking siblings. I can't believe you did that, I would never do that. I used to knit with my sister. No, we used to just... But we get on great now.
Yeah.
But when we were kids, we didn't really have a lot, because we had to muck out a rabbit, and it just drove me and my brother mental. Because we hated this thing, and then the rabbit got myxomatosis, and Dad killed it with a hammer. In front of her, and...
In front of her?
In front of her, in front of my brother and me, and it was hilarious. And it really was. It was just like, bloody hell, the animal's suffering, crack, like that. And even like age 9, I was like, I don't know if that's the way you're meant to deal with it. But my dad's quite instinctive.
Yeah.
But it was like 3 twitches. I was like, how do you get a hammer that quick? It's like a West Country Thor. But yeah, so we had a fairly, unpredictable family.
Yeah, well...
But a fun family.
Yeah, which you've
that
used...
That paints my dad in a bad light. He wasn't just randomly killing animals. he was like, oh, he's suffering. Crack.
Yeah. It's a quick way to deal with it. You've done a lot of stuff where you've acted with your sister in the Gert Last Christmas with her, but that's presumably based on your family to some extent.
Yeah, it was. I wrote with Steve Williams, so it was a mixture of his story with his girlfriend and a bit of mine, and it was like my cousins and aunties all sort of blended together, and Kerry played my sister in it. And she was unbelievable. It was a really fascinating window when you kind of go, oh, wow, my little sister's a lot more talented than me. She was so good. It really...
We've all been trying to tell you. We've been meaning to let you know.
But it was really cool. So you sort of see her and you're like, bloody hell, she's properly brilliant.
Yeah.
So it was really lovely, and she was giving me like little tips because I'd never acted before. It was really great. It was cool.
Yeah, well, you were good in it.
I was all right.
I did a similar thing where I played myself, going back to my family.
Yeah.
And when you're with but no, exactly the same thing. When you're with the fantastic actors, it's suddenly God.
Well, they're very good at being still.
Yeah.
And you realise that I'm a real fidget.
Yeah.
And I think you are too.
I am, and also what I would do, I kept on getting told off for, was looking at the person whose line it was about to be.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I'd written it as well. I didn't know I was doing it.
Like in the nativity plays.
She didn't take me aside, the director just went, Richard, can you stop looking at the person who's about to talk before they say it?
What, were you like mouthing their lines?
I mean, almost effectively. I might have even been doing that, yeah.
Oh, nice.
So, but no, it's nerve-wracking that you've written something. It was
very scary. Yeah.
So it's a very different. It's amazing to get anything on TV, which you've been very successful at getting stuff on TV.
Yeah.
And what's quite interesting is so much as you were doing. I don't know if you must have started Good News in 2012 when you were last on.
2009. Yeah. So we started 2009.
Yeah, because I was there very early on, and then I got sacked for eating all the Haribo. Do
you know, the reason we didn't sack you, we just moved.
Just moved off.
Is because you were too intimidating, is the truth. No, it was that thing of like, because it felt like having this kind of wise elder in the room. Genuinely, and we were all embarrassed to
I was embarrassed
to say, no, but genuinely. Do you know what I mean? It was a bit like, oh God, he's done too many things. So we kind of, we'd sort of wait for you to leave and then sort of say, this is what I was going to say, this is what I was going to say. We were just, it's oddly nervous around you.
It was the right decision. You've got a fantastic team working on that show. But like, so much has happened. You were doing this Good News show all the way through all this terrible news that's been going on in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying it's your fault. But by looking on the bright side, so many people, wow, let's make things much worse. See if we can throw Howard off his game. But was it tricky to keep on? I mean, what I like about you is that positivity, and that's something that's sort of always been there in your act.
Yeah.
And that was presumably the idea behind this show, was to do a topical show that was looking at the good things rather than...
Yeah, and we ran out of them. and then, I don't know, it's just being younger and I wasn't particularly engaged. And then the more the show goes on, and now the Sky show is a bit more kind of angry, I guess. And like my last stand-up, I wouldn't say, like, I quite like talking about things and still trying to be funny. I think that the real enemy of satire at the minute is a lot of clapter. Like, do you know what I mean? Whereas I think it's really important to try and be funny. Like I did a whole thing about girls self-harming in my Netflix special, and it was really, it was a big 15-minute chunk, and I was really proud of it, and it was talking about it seriously, but also there was funny bits in it. I find that more rewarding.
Yeah.
The older I get, to try and talk about things that aren't easy. When I was younger, I just think, I'll just do that because it's a little silly story. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it is. I mean, you do great interviews on your show, and you have great guests on your show.
Yeah.
The one I watched today with Rob Delaney is extraordinary.
Yeah, isn't it?
I mean, you talked to Rob about the death of his 3-year-old son that happened about a year before.
Yeah.
It's an incredibly moving interview, but you handle it so brilliantly as well.
Well, what was incredible about that is that he wanted to talk about it.
Yeah.
So he kind of said, I really want to use your show to talk about grief. And I was like, okay. And we spoke for like an hour, and it was unbelievable. And you realise the skill to interviewing is taking me like 10 years, is to listen.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But as a comic, you're like, me, But when he was talking so frankly and with such poise on such a difficult thing, you become very aware that there'll be people at home listening that this will mean a huge amount to them. A man talking very, very openly and honestly about grief in a way that people can connect with. So, in a sense, I didn't really do anything. I just kind of got out of the way and let him be eloquent.
Yeah. But that, as you say, that is an important part of it. But I think you got more out of him from the way you reacted to it, because you again were honest as well. The difficulty with those subjects is most people don't know, could never imagine. Well, you spend as a parent, you spend your whole life worrying about being in that situation. So you imagine it, but you know what you're imagining cannot be anything like the reality of it happening.
But the interesting thing with it is that there was a bit where he said if somebody has suffered a bereavement, then talk to them about it. And what I said is that we, don't know whether this is a British thing, but you almost don't want to burden them with the pain. And then he said, not a burden. I'm thinking about it all the time, so just bring it up. And I think somebody talking like that probably helps people at home, because they may know somebody who's lost somebody, and you just don't know how to help them.
Yeah.
And if a guy going on telly talking about that it's kind of an amazing thing to do, you know?
Yeah, and it's nice to be able to do it within a show that's... I mean, there was some light-hearted bits in the interview itself, but obviously it's within a comedy show. I think it really is helpful to do those things.
Yeah, definitely.
It's on YouTube if you want to check it out. It's well worth checking out. And you talked to... I saw one with Louis Theroux, which was very funny as well.
Yeah, he's great. John Ronson was fantastic, talking about porn. Really interesting. He's a fascinating guy.
He is, yeah.
Lovely.
We've had them all on here.
Have you?
Yeah, we've had all of them. We have them first, and if they pass that test, they can go on to you.
Well, thank you very much.
I was going to say, you're getting older, I'm getting older.
We are, yeah.
It's not going to last forever, it's for you.
Of my life?
Well, definitely your life.
Yeah. But it sounds like, what are you trying to offer me tonight?
I was seeing tonight as a bit sort of a Charlie and the Chocolate Factory opportunity, because your initials are RH as well.
Yes.
So I could, when I'm too old to do this and you're too old to do arena tours anymore.
Yes.
I could hand this on I'm just wondering if you want me to hand this on to you.
Are you suggesting a work swap?
Well, not a swap, because I don't want to do your hard work of touring around the country. I'll be dead probably. I'll just retire.
And you want me to do this?
I thought I could give you, as a sort of Willy Wonka figure.
Yeah.
Gift you this podcast. Not right away. I've still got some years in me yet.
And other people.
And then your career isn't over. When your career's over, what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And you can't get any work anywhere else. You can do this. It's what I did.
Okay.
And because your initials are RH, it would still work. Then they'd be happy, because they just like shouting RHLSTP. That's the only reason they come.
Okay.
I mean, you don't have to take it. I'm just offering you the gift. That's all. It's like Charlie Bucket going, "No, Willy Wonka, fuck off. I don't want your factory. I don't even."
Imagine if that had been in the original book. Fuck off, Wonka.
I don't even like chocolate. I like Cadbury's.
Slave labour. You don't pay any of them dwarfs, you piece of shit.
Anyway, the offer's on the table.
What a lovely offer. That was like someone having a breakdown on a bus then.
I did see.
But because I'll die and you'll get home too. You can take it. We've got the same name, you know. It'd be an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much.
I think you're good. That's well. I think you're a good interviewer. So I think you could fill my big shoes.
Yeah.
Size 8 shoes. I've got 42 European.
Still on that bus stop, aren't we?
I saw you.
You're going to do a song with them?
I saw you.
Where's the 42?
I saw you somewhere saying you were 30. Someone was talking to you about doing big arena tours and all the work you're doing. So, I'm 35 now, so it must have been a while ago. And I'm 35, but when I'm 50, I wouldn't be able to do this anymore.
Yeah.
I think you will be able to do it when you're 50. So fuck you.
Not arenas.
Yeah.
Nah.
Why not?
Because it's, I don't know.
Tell me about arenas. What is a gig? What's a gig like if there's more than 20 people there? Tell me the
They're
story.
great.
Yeah.
They're really good fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know you're not meant to say that, but they're brilliant. Yeah, they're really good fun. And I remember seeing Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle in arenas and just going, wow, yeah, you can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, they're great, man. They're just, they have to be finished. That's the only thing. If there's like 12,000 people, it has to be quite, you can't really kind of improvise.
No.
That's the only thing that you sort of creatively sort of stand still a bit, because it's too much of a risk. But all the gigs leading up to it,
I've been in the audiences of some gigs of that size. Yeah, never been on stage, but it's something with some comedians, and I think like a lot of UK comedians, and it's interesting you picked American comedians there, because I think a lot of UK comedians maybe struggle with the concept in a way that, because sometimes when you lose a bit of an audience in a gig of 100 people, you don't really notice.
Yes.
But if you lose a section of 10,000 people, if they're distracted, you can tell that there's a whole suddenly a whole section of the O2 becomes distracted by something.
Well, I did a gig at the Glasgow Arena, and there was a fight.
Right.
Up in the gods, and you'd hear this like, like properly, fucking do, fucking do, like, bust on fucking, be away, fucking, right? Like that. And I've never got more into the English. And I was like, what's going on? And there was a lady down the front that went, they're having a fight, just fucking crack on. And I was like, but I can't, and it's still going on. Yeah, I'll fucking kill your mother, you fucking, like that. And it made the paper the next day. Right. It was like in the Daily Mirror that there'd been a fight. So that's definitely, you know, can happen. But then having said that, I remember doing a gig in Eastleigh when a bloke started on me. And nobody's ever started on me in an arena. Right. I was doing this 60-seater Jeff Whiting gig, and this guy just came up to me. I was like 19 at the time, and he goes, "You've been sleeping with my wife?" I said, "I haven't been sleeping with anyone, mate." That's why I'm doing this, Jesus.
I got wanked off when I was 12.
I got wanked off when I was 12. It's been nothing since. And he kind of swung at me, and nobody did anything. And I was stopped trying to carry on. I was trying to do a bit about Craig David's week. And, you know, he met a girl on Monday, like that. And I was kind of running around, and this bloke was swinging at me. And then about sort of a minute later, because he was pushed out, a minute later, his wife just walked past. And I was like, "You could have pointed out that we weren't having sex." She's like, "Yeah, I was enjoying it, though." So the proof is you can have weird gigs. Yeah. I remember the oddest experience I had in an arena, I think for the audience, was at the O2, and I did a joke and I got it wrong. So I did like, it's a spoonerism. I can't really, you know, chicken, why did it? You know, like something like that. And my brother was the only person, because he'd seen me do the joke properly. He knew that I'd cocked up. So I hear this, and I genuinely shouted at him, I went, from nowhere, I went, "Fuck you. I will knock your teeth out with a brick," right? But these people didn't know that it was my brother. They'd just seen a man laugh at somebody at a comedy club and the comedian really not respond well. And then I explained that it was my brother, and they were like, "Still a bit weird, isn't it?" But he was like I could see him in a box with all of his mates, and they're all drinking. I could just see him amongst 15,000 of my brothers, like that, sort of swearing at me. It was his highlight. Nothing excites my brother more than me doing badly at a gig. He absolutely loves it, honestly. Or anyone doing badly. My brother has always found that. We did a gig at the Ashton Court Festival, and it's the most I've ever seen him laugh. There was a guy doing a routine about Celine Dion, and a man got up and started urinating on him. And he carried on doing the bit, and my brother was, honestly, like, exactly, that's the correct response, but that poor man, but my brother was like, "He's got weight on him!" And, yeah, so...
And I guess if 15,000 people are all laughing at the same joke, or all, that must be an amazing
It's great.
As well.
Yeah, it's just, like, when you get it going, it's the same as any, like, to be honest, like, you know, a 200-seater, if you get jokes working, and like, because I'm working on my new show now, and if you can get things, I was at the Norwich Arts Centre, which is like 300, and it was so brilliant, because you go, "Oh, yeah, and that's the drug, isn't it? I think once you've lost that, and I bet you everyone has it, from Connolly through to Dave Chappelle, or I'm trying to think, Amy Schumer, whoever, it's that bit when you go, "Oh man, that's going to work, that." And I think if you lose that, that's when you're no longer a comic. Do you know what I mean? You must have, you know, when you get in a show together and you're like, that bit's really... And when you have your mates, like other comedians come in, those are the bits that you know they're really great, because you want to do them in front of your mates.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
What is interesting, because I haven't done stand-up I haven't written any stand-up really, apart from the stuff I mess around here, which isn't really written, for like a year. So I finished my last tour in June last year. It's June now. And I'm not really missing it. But I think any other time in the life... Because I came back in 2004. I came back and you were sort of just on your ascent, really. And I gigged with you quite a lot.
We gigged loads together, didn't we?
Did, weirdly. And it was, you know, and you were amazing. And I remember coming back and going, "Oh, fucking hell, this guy..." Because you were making stuff up out of nowhere, and every gig was different material, it seemed. It was phenomenal. And so I was coming back, sort of testing the water. And since then, I've loved it. And every year I've come back and I've wanted to do another show. Sometimes I've repeated a show and had a bit of a... But I've always been writing material, but...
You must have written so much.
Yeah.
Because it's so funny, you go, I haven't done stand-up, I haven't written new stand-up for a year. Most stand-ups haven't written new stuff for 20 years, mate. Like, do you know what I mean? So it's that weird...
I know, well, you want it, but, you know, I think I've heard you say this as well, but you want to keep going and you want to keep changing stuff, you know, and I occasionally, if a show's really... I brought a few shows back just because I'd never recorded them.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I also thought, like, 10, 15 years later, I might do these shows better.
Yes.
So I don't mind, you know, I occasionally redo a show. But really, once you've done it for a year, I think I did Talking Cock for 2 years and it felt like too long.
Yeah.
So you want to move on and do the next thing. But it was quite, you know, I thought I would miss it. I thought I'd be really... I think this obviously scratches the itch and I'm still on stage doing this.
But is that because you've got a young family as well?
Yeah, I mean, it's partly that.
And do you think you just kind of... that presumably is fun, reading them bedtime stories?
Yeah.
Do you put all your stand-up energy into that?
Well, I do make-up stuff. Do
you make them applaud you into the room?
I know, my daughter's a very tough...
You may recognise it from Little Red Riding Hood.
My daughter's a very tough audience, but she wants new stuff. I make stories up for her every night, different stories. But usually she gets into a theme that she likes.
Yeah.
And the thing that I got into recently that I really regret getting into because it's very hard to do stories about is that she's got, she likes dollhouses. Somehow got into the story where she had a doll's house of every house in our village in her room. And at night time, all the dolls came alive and were the people in the houses. And she's the sort of the god of the village, which she likes a bit too much. So she's definitely going to be a stand-up comedian. But also it's kind of a difficult story to do anything about because all you're really doing is stories of people in a village. And then if you can think of a way of getting the big Phoebe to come in and pick something up, then that's really all there is. And she loves it, and I find it really hard to improvise any more stories about it.
I can't wait for that. My sister's got a 5-year-old, and they're living with my mum and dad in a minute. And Dad, it turns out, has an amazing ability at inventing stories, but all of my dad's stories that he tells his 5-year-old boy are fictitious stories about me.
Right.
Doing terrible things.
Yeah.
So, like, it's the time that I burnt all those people and the police tried to chase me.
Yeah.
And then I invented a helicopter and flew away.
Yeah.
So then I'm with a 5-year-old boy, and then he will kind of go, I remember the time you burnt all those people.
So they do. My daughter makes me to have her little brother, who's like a baby, basically,
Yes.
toddler. He's the sort of evil character in every story she
Oh,
loves.
nice.
So he's always trying to mess things up. And she always goes, can you have a little Ernie in it as well? And then she comes up with worse things than I can ever imagine. But yeah, but you sort of know, it's great. That's an audience where you know whether it's worked or not. You can tell when she's getting bored. And also the hits come back. So she'll keep reminding you of things that you've done that were good.
Yeah.
4 months ago. But yeah, they're not for public.
So you're essentially like, you're like the Stones. And you're trying to write new stuff, and they're like, just do brown sugar, Dad. Put on your trousers and do brown sugar.
It is.
I think I'm going to be like that. Hopefully I'm lucky enough and we could have kids, but I think I'll be, like, critiquing myself. I'll come back and go, it's not gone great, that.
It's very free form, you know, but it sort of doesn't matter what you say. You're trying to get them to sleep, really.
But
so if you're too good at it, then they stay awake. That's the problem.
But do you ever have moments where you're like, that was a good story?
Yeah.
What is wrong with it? Is it like stand-up?
Yes.
What's the point of performing in front of a crowd like that?
Yeah.
If you're literally giving it everything,
yeah.
There's magic, there's elves.
I do sometimes tell her, she should appreciate what That's it's good. You're getting married very soon.
I'm going to get married on Thursday.
Thursday?
Yeah.
This is Monday.
This is my last thing. Yeah, it's very exciting. And I'm just putting the finishing touches to my speech.
Right.
And it's all sorted. And my brother is my best man. And it's going to be, that'll be interesting. It's going to be really exciting, I hope.
I winged my speech.
Did you?
Yeah. Wasn't a good idea.
What?
I was bad, because also you're a bit drunk by that stage.
Oh, great. I like this already.
But I've told this story a lot, but luckily my dad, just before I did my speech, we went to quite a nice hotel for the reception, and they had like little tubs of, what's it called?
Jam?
No, it was...
What was that? Go on.
Lip balm, you know, because he knows the story. Little tubs of lip balm on the table. The little tubs of lip balm on the table.
And hang on, hang on, you're pissed, and your dad's like, don't worry, I've got lip balm.
My mum turned to me, and she said to me, your dad's just eating the lip balm. He thought it was cheese. So luckily I had that, so that was the main part of my speech, was just laughing laughing at my dad.
So
he thought, why did they have such tiny amounts of cheese? I mean, why did they have lip balm is another question. But...
So that's all good. But did you mention your wife?
I don't think I got onto her.
Good.
At some point, yeah. 7. You've been married 7, and you've been married 7 years. You can come back. Come back in 7 years' time.
Yeah.
I'll be married 14 years, or to my second wife for about 3 years.
Imagine that. Oh, that's the doorbell in my other house. That's the reason why we got to do 2 of these. Got to pay the mortgage. You still working, boy? Yeah, it's going to be all right, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, years. It's a couple. We've been together for ages.
Yeah, yeah.
Have you ever met my girlfriend?
I don't think I have. I'm not sure she exists.
Reg D. Hunter met her years ago. And my girlfriend said her name, and Reg said, "That's a beautiful name." And my girlfriend explained what it meant in Welsh, because she's Welsh, and it means love. And Reg went, "I knew you were the embodiment of love when I first met you." So I stopped taking her to gigs. It was just like, I can't compete with that, for fuck's sake. Touring with Reg Hunter, wow, that was fun, man.
No, you'll like being married. It's the same as not being married, except, much worse.
We've learned a lot because my girlfriend wasn't very well. She was in hospital for a bit, which is awful. And, the house fell apart without her. You realise that you love her and you cannot cope. Do you know what I mean? I thought I did a lot of stuff around the house. No. Me and the dog, we're like fucking Tom Hanks in Castaway. Like 2 days into it, spearing fish with sticks. He ate a tuna mayonnaise sandwich because it was the only thing we could find. And we were on Skype and the dog's like, it's not going great here. Oh. Yeah, but it's going to be lovely. It's going to be a lot of fun.
And then we're going on a dad. If you become a dad, that'll be a great thing.
Oh yeah, hopefully. I find it very nerve-wracking.
You should.
But the idea. But I hopefully it's 95% her and 5% me, because there's too much madness in me. I don't want to put my brain into a child's. Do you know what I mean? I think that would be a lot. Because as a job, this is just absurd. That, I have to have strangers like me. Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Imagine a kid.
But that is sort of what being a kid... I mean, the problem is comedians are kids, and that's sort of what being a kid is like, really. You sort of think... I look at my daughter and think, oh, she'll be a comedian, but she's just being a kid, so she likes jokes, and she likes showing off.
Yeah.
And you think, oh, she's going to be a comedian. That's maybe bad. But she's just being a kid.
Yeah.
And we're just being kids, and that's the reason it's all right.
Is it all right?
Yeah.
Good.
It's really good.
That's your tip. Good.
It's really good. They don't sleep very much, as I was saying to you backstage.
Yeah.
And so, I got to sleep till 6:30 today, and I'm delighted by that. Yeah. Delighted.
Oh, nuts, eh?
Can't tell you how happy I am. My son saw 2 days in a row, he slept till 6:30.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. 6:45 it was yesterday. It's insane.
And you get up early before them as well?
I do, because I'm an old man, I have to do a wee. And I have to decide whether it's worth going back to sleep. It's weird you work for... Don't mess around with it.
I was just fucking up.
It's ruining everything.
Flash.
Don't bring that film up. You played for Basingstoke Town, and in Basingstoke, there is a park called the Russell Howard Park. Do you know that?
I do. Known locally as Dog Shit Canyon.
Is it named after you, Russell Howard?
It isn't. It's I don't know. It's named after somebody else, but there's lots of dog poo there. And I once saw a man. We were playing. I was like 14. I was playing for Alton United, and we were like, can't play. There's a dog shit. And this bloke went, no, there's not. And he threw it away.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the kind of standard. That's what happens in football.
He was a mayor of Basingstoke. Russell something Howard. Do you know there's a Russell Howard Pavilion in Southam?
Nope. Where's Southam?
£12 an hour you can hire it for.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that's not bad.
It's good.
How big is it?
It says you can hire Russell Howard for £12 an hour. I reckon they're using that as a little...
Yeah.
Get people in and go, ooh, and then, oh, it's a hall. Oh, well.
It's a hall?
Well, it's like a
pavilion. Right, Jesus.
It's a pavilion. Yeah. Look out for it.
Are there any places that you're on? Is there a Richard Herring hut?
No. There's now on Wikipedia, there's that thing where it says if you want the other Richard Herring, click here. There's a Richard J. Herring.
What does he
I'm
do?
Richard K. Herring. There's an economist in America called Richard J. Herring.
Nice. There's a musician called Russell Howard.
Is there?
Yeah.
It's got to be quite a common name, I guess.
Yeah.
Howard's quite a common name.
Howard, too, yeah.
Catherine Howard from off of the
Henry
King
VIII.
Henry VIII's
Yep.
cock.
Yep.
And was she the one who survived, Catherine Howard, or was she what?
She was
No,
off.
she was
Like the film that. No. The
She
first
five,
heckle
was
of the
she number
evening, I
five?
will not see Catherine Howard.
Divorced, beheaded, died, divorced, beheaded. Was she beheaded, Catherine Howard? Yeah.
Yeah. And then he put her on a wheel. And she went like that.
Frankie Howard.
Yep.
I'm just a name people called
Spelt
Howard.
differently. With an E, wasn't it?
Well, spoiled my fun. I was gonna name loads.
love-
Howard from Take That.
Yep.
Howard from the Halifax advert.
Back to the bus stop, haven't we? That would be a very good podcast for you, 'cause you
Yeah.
don't do enough.
Yeah.
Bus stop natter.
I
Do you know
mean,
what
it basically is. It's basically stone clearing. That's what that is. It's just without the bus, and with lots of stones in it. You should listen to it. It's good.
What's stone clearing? What's
Oh,
that?
you want to?
See, I don't know my way around the murky world of podcasts, but I said stone clearing, and a sizable amount of people got very excited.
No, I think that was like trepidation about talking about it. It's where I go round the local field and I'm trying to clear all the stones off the field that I walk my dog round.
Hang on a minute, what? And you've been recording this?
Yeah.
Why?
Because some people will be interested. Because it's an artistic project.
Is it?
Yeah.
What? Hang on. So
About man's, insignificance. It's me versus nature. I play myself at snooker. That's the internal struggle between a man and himself.
Oh, yeah.
That
Listen,
we all have to struggle.
Yeah, we can all write a PR blurb, but like, are you all right? Give me a call.
It's
I'll hang
about
out, you
mental
fucking
breakdown.
mad bastard. Clearing stones and recording it. You got children now, you fucking... 1, 2, 3. Press play and record. No, good luck to you. Whatever you want to do, you fucking mad.
You went to Bedford Modern School.
I did for 1 year, yeah.
1 year. Bedford was Peter John Squire the head when you went there?
I don't know. I remember finding it absolutely terrifying. I was 9. We lived in Flitwick at the time. And I had to wear an art smock. Right. And there was indoor shoes. And I had to have a fucking briefcase for like a year. And it was so far removed. Like, literally, sat down and kind of go, "Do you have a good weekend, Howard?"
My father killed a rabbit with a hammer.
So I've never felt less connected. And I got bullied every day by a bloke who used to call me Vacuum Head. Every day. I didn't really look like a vacuum. But he's like, "All right, Vacuum Head," and he used to spit on me. It was horrible. It was proper weird. And he had like indoor shoes, and there was always the threat of being like, fucked. So, do you know what I mean? There's all these kind of horrible, "Oh, I'm going to fuck you in the shower." I was like, "Oh, Christ." So, yeah. Then I went to a village school where there was bell ringing. So it was a bit of a change of pace.
Yeah.
So we welcome you to Ropley School. We hope you will enjoy your stay. I was like, excellent. No one's going to try and bum me in the shower, is it? If I play my cards right, I might get wanked off in a couple of years. Yeah, it was weird. It's a very weird...
Why is it called Bedford Modern School? Was there a school in Bedford that wasn't very modern?
There was Bedford School, and then there was Bedford Modern. We had like sort of a red thing. We had like caps. It was proper weird, man. Did you go to private school?
No, I went to comprehensive schools like a normal person.
Yeah, totally. But that was it. But for whatever reason, it was like a bit like 7 Up, that thing which is amazing. Is everyone watching that? It's just great, isn't it? It was almost like my dad went, "Right, let's see if we can put him in private school for a year and see what that does." And then we obviously couldn't afford it, and I was like, "It's not for me."
No.
And then I went back to normality. It was weird though.
Yeah.
Very, very strange.
Yeah,
I found it too adult. That suddenly, like, there was a thing called a disorder mark if you behaved irregularly, and we had to read the Lord's Prayer, and it was like there was still sort of hints of the cane and all that kind of stuff. And I remember once, like, I had to do this exam to get in, and I kind of passed it. And right at the end, this teacher kind of went, I put in that little maths trick at the end, just so you could enjoy it all. Did you enjoy that? And all the other boys were like, oh yeah, I really enjoyed it. and I had just looked at that going, But yeah, it was we weren't allowed to wear pants when we played football. That was the kind of place it was. And this old teacher used to go around checking whether you're wearing pants or not. And you kind of go, oh, well, that's just what they did. Like age 9, went, you're wearing pants? Yeah, because it's freezing outside, you fucking paedophile. But, yeah.
So not a happy time. I'm sorry for bringing it up.
No, it's fine. But I often wonder what would have happened if I'd have, stayed there. Thank God I didn't. But
it's an odd thing. I mean, I know
age 9 to suddenly. Yeah. I think if you're sort of if you have families that are that's what happens and that's where you go and I'll see you in the summer.
Yeah.
But my family were very kind of.
Were you boarding there as well, or were you?
No. I used to just go there.
Yeah.
And so I used to I'd get chased by the kids who went to normal school on the way there, and then get a bus and then fucking leg it back carrying a briefcase through town. Tough. I remember once getting chased by a cat, and I was like, even fucking animals. Like, fuck off. Jesus. So, yeah, it was weird. And then I was so pleased when I went to, we moved to Ropley, and I sort of went there, and, yeah, it's odd. It's but I guess if I'd have done that, I'd have just been a different person.
Yeah, definitely. Well,
we weren't even allowed to play football at school. That was
right.
So it was just one of those, rugby only. And I was like, God, my brain is in my foot. I need to be able to play football. I don't have academic skills. But,
well, it's sort of, you could be the Tory leader if you'd gone to public school.
True.
I went to university with a lot of public school people.
Yes. And how was that?
Well, I find it very intimidating, and it wasn't until afterwards I realised, you realise a lot of it's just that confidence that's been bred into them. So you don't have that in comprehensive school. You're not told that everything you do is brilliant. And you're not taught to lead or whatever.
Yeah.
And I went to a very nice comprehensive school, but it's still, it wasn't. And I felt like.
But did you feel, because it's that interesting thing, because a lot of people who go to private school are just, obviously they're not all dicks. There's a massive generalisation, but they have that kind of confidence.
Yeah.
And as a generalisation of comprehensive kids, we all have that chippy fucking
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It was this weird thing that whenever all the people that I know that went to private school, so balanced, and you meet them at uni and they're wearing blue shirts and chinos, and they're like, hey man, how are you? And they're lovely. And then there's this weird comprehensive voice in your head going, yeah, but you should spunk on biscuits. That's always what it comes down to, yeah, but like they ever did. Like that clearly never happened, and yet everyone in comprehensive schools, yeah, you know what they do with biscuits? This week, don't have to eat biscuits with jizz on. But,
I kind of feel I feel sorry for them, because I think it's it's weird to have your childhood taken away in that way.
Totally.
And B, I think it's, you're judged for a choice that your parents made.
Absolutely.
And for the rest of your life, and I get it a little bit because I went to Oxford, and so people still have that thing where they're going, and you go, I just got some good A-level results.
Exactly.
But, you still get that in reverse snobbery. And it is odd to not let your kids be kids or to put them through all that.
But then there's a gig at the Uppingham School that you've probably done as well.
I think I have, yeah.
And it's this amazing. It's in Lincoln. I think Stephen Fry went there, and you do a gig there. It's amazing. And I remember looking at the notice board about the school trips, and there were all these amazing ski trips and stuff like that. And you think, God, wow, what a life to give your child.
Yeah.
So that's the funny thing, isn't it? The older you get, you kind of go, oh God.
But also, if you paid all that money to send someone to school, you'd be upset if they didn't get a fantastic job at the end of it and get into the brilliant university.
About Prince Charles. You think of the money spent on Prince Harry's education,
and
he got an E in art and a D in geography. You'd be like, my dad would have kicked the fuck out. I only had 1 year private school.
Hey, let's ask you some emergency questions. What am I thinking? Asking you about your childhood.
You got very scruffy handwriting.
Yeah. I'm using a sort of biro there as well, so I'm not good with a biro. Is
this one of your books? One of your many books?
One of my many books. What's the most expensive thing you've had eaten by a pet, other than a tuna sandwich?
My mum's dog Bert ate a whole plate of sausages once.
Right.
And I think they were butcher's sausages.
Right.
And
That's what dogs are meant to do, right? That's the run down the street with a string of sausages
he
in their
did,
mouth.
but he literally he wolfed them down. But he was an amazing dog. He once jumped out of a car, travelling at 20 miles an hour, like some sort of 70s detective. And he looked at my dad, right? He looked at Dad like that, as if to kind of go, you know what I'm going to do. And Dad was like that, kind of, you know, that, and he just, like that, like that. And Mum was like that. And he was perfectly fine.
Yeah. My son was doing that. Yesterday I was pushing him around in a party in the garden in a little toy car with a little door. As I was pushing him along, he'd open the door and get out. It was very similar. Very similar. This is a good question. I don't think I've ever asked anyone this question before.
Okay.
Question C636 if you're following along at home. This book's available in the foyer after the show. If an older version of you came back from the future and gave you advice about what you should do with your life, would you take the advice or assume that the you from the future was evil and trying to screw you over?
Excellent question.
Thank you.
Do you know the weirdest thing about that is I've got a 10-minute bit of stand-up about that in my next show. So I've got like a really brilliant bit, but then I won't be able to do it on tour.
No, don't do it.
So what I'm going to need you to do is ask me another question.
Okay. I am the you from the future giving you the idea to do that routine. That's what's happening. And I'm trying to screw you up because it's a bad routine. The thing is, if you come back from the future...
Oh, do you want to answer it?
I'll tell you. I'll answer it and say you can use this if you want.
All right.
I don't know what it's going to be yet.
I'll be 15-year-old me.
Okay.
You be Richard Herring from now.
Okay. The thing is, if it is you from the future coming back trying to give you advice to do what would be better for you, that means the you from the future won't exist anymore. So, because you'll take a different path, so the you from the future coming back will cease to exist. So it can't be in their interest to come back and give you that advice. So they must be giving you that advice because you were going to do something different that would mean that they weren't going to exist. So they're tricking you. That's the answer.
There you go.
Thank you. It's all random.
You've always been obsessed with time travel, haven't you?
Yeah.
I remember when we first met, you always used to go on about Good Night, Sweetheart.
Yeah. Still do.
Do you still do it? But you knew the name of him and everything.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Gary Sparrow.
That's it, yeah.
I'm writing a sitcom with
I used to love that. It's such a brilliant observation.
Yeah.
But yeah, why did he go back to that place? So I was probably there when you started it. She's still knocking that around. Fucking lunatic, man.
In my sitcom, the main character's called Phoebe Pigeon, but Phoebe was the name of Gary's, and her boyfriend's called Gary, and she's called Phoebe. It's just the other way around. Good night, sweetheart. Look out for that when that never happens.
Or maybe spend a bit more time writing it and a bit less time picking up pebbles.
You'll all see. You'll be laughing on the other side of your face when I have a wall just that's named after me. No one will remember your stupid fucking routine about time travel then. About,
Herring's Wall, nice.
I had some written in the back here. Let me see what I'll do. I'll do some that aren't even.
I'm going to ask you one from here and all.
You can.
Are you able to explain what differentiates a satsuma from a clementine or a mandarin?
No, I'm not. That's why I asked the question. Some of them. Oh look! There was a news story today about a man who, on a flight from Pakistan who was looking for the toilet and opened the emergency door. Luckily, when the plane was on the ground.
Yep.
But it still meant the emergency slides came out and they had to delay the flight by 5 hours. That's quite a big mistake to make, isn't it? I mean, you can never have flown in a plane before and also go, whoa, I wonder why they're making the toilet so hard to get into.
Yeah.
It must really...
And also, there's a lot of flight attendants, so presumably they saw him doing that. Why did they not do it?
Wait, let's see how this plays out.
Yeah, exactly. Just like holding on to stuff like that. I've heard tell of this.
So what is the most unlikely thing you've ever mistaken for a toilet? Is it a shower in the gym?
No.
That's for me.
No, I don't know.
No. It's not always. Is there? This is a question that came from the John Ronson interview, which you probably know about this about John Ronson. That one of his last podcasts was about tailor-made porn, where people who can't get the porn they want on the internet, unbelievably, pay people to make the porn that turns them on.
Yeah.
What's that for you? If you were going to have some porn, if you're going to have some porn made for you that isn't currently available, what would it involve?
Do you know? I would love to watch quite a lot of my friends make love.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know. My friend Will Hodgson, who you'll know is a comedian.
I know Will, yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to watch him.
You want to watch Will make love?
Yeah. I just think the things he'd say would be hilarious. Would you, all right, man, I'll fucking have you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it would be good.
It's very specific, but that's why it's
But would he have to not know you were watching? So you'd...
Yeah.
Because that would put him off saying the stuff
if I was stood there in the corner, like, you know,
so
eating popcorn, going, just do your thing.
So for the porn to work, Will Hodgson would have to be secretly filmed making love with his wife.
Yes, yeah.
And then, I mean, would you
to be honest, I wouldn't need the visuals.
Okay, just
the audio would work.
So audio recorded.
Just, oh, fucking hell, like, but there's something about him specifically. Oh, fucking hell, man. No, I'm not, not really.
Did you see...
That was me joking. I'm not really... I don't know what's your... It's a weird
thing to talk about. Off by ventriloquist dummies.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's very little of that online.
Yeah. That's why none of the dolls speak.
Did you see Black Mirror, where there's in the new series, spoiler alert, people at home, it's happened a long time ago, you've had time to watch it, they have a video game where you can you become sort of part of the character, you can feel like you're the character in the game.
Right.
And there's sort of fighting characters. It's like those old fighting games where the two characters fighting against each other.
Yeah.
And then they're two mates playing in different places, but then they start kissing, the characters start kissing, and then they start fucking. One of them's a woman in the game, and they start fucking, and then they regularly keep having sex with each other. Do you think that should be considered cheating on your partner, or do you think that should be allowed? Because I watched it with my wife, and she thought that was cheating.
I love stuff like that. There was, I don't know, and it's a very similar question. There was a man, I don't know his actual name, he's one of my uncle's mates. He's called Cuddly Bob.
Right.
And he likes cuddling people. He's lovely. Yeah, that makes him sound creepy, but he's like, here's a question for you, right? That, like, all my uncle's mates are always like, they've got these wild-eyed, like, proper, like, homemade cider, and it's like, fuck, I have 3 more of them and kill you, not know I've done it? Like, kind of guys. And he was sort of saying, if I travel back in time and I have sex with my wife, have I cheated on my wife now? Because I've had sex more times than her here, but I've travelled there. But I am cheating because it's her, innit? Like that, and it's like a firework party.
Yeah.
And so I don't know.
No. I don't think it is. It's not cheap. If we were playing a video game together and we weren't even in the same room, and then, you know, we just started kissing in the game, and could feel it all and everything, and it'd be like, we were kissing and having sex.
You're like, FIFA's changed, isn't it? Ronaldo's in me.
That's not, but we're not actually. It's only a sort of. It's like having an elaborate wank, isn't it? It's the same as the robot that my wife won't let me have sex with as well.
Yeah.
My wife's. That's the thing. You have time to get this in your marriage vows. Go. I promise.
I promise.
I won't have sex with any other one else unless they're a sex robot.
Yeah.
That doesn't count. Or if it's one of my mates who we're playing a video game and then we just start fucking in the video game. That's obviously not really us, so that's fine. A couple of people leaving due to the offence caused. But I think they...
Looks like somebody's dragging a sex doll away. Come on, darling, I'm not letting him have to speak about you like this.
You can only assume that couple, the husband has had sex with one of his friends in a video game. That's the only reason. They thought, we're going to go out, we're going to try and forget about this incident, go and see some comedy. Oh, they brought that up. They brought the one thing we were trying to get away from.
I know that there's a company in the UK, because we spoke about this on the TV, that they have made a sex robot.
Tell me more.
And they've given it a Scottish accent to make it sound more desirable. And, you know, I mean, French, Spanish, Italian, not Scottish, surely. Fucking doomy. Right. Absolutely not R2. I just, like, oh God, imagine if that becomes a thing. People are doing it. Ugh.
Be great.
Do you think? I think we're talking instant regret. I think you're giving it the big I am. I think one thrust in, you'd be weeping all over your new contraption. Now that's a podcast. Robot seduction. Hello, welcome to Robot Seduction with me, Richard Herring.
I would definitely have to podcast
What
it.
kind
just
of dance moves are they?
Oh, you like them, baby. For the listeners, I'm dancing really erotically in front of the robot.
Are those pebbles in your fucking trousers?
How would you seduce a robot?
Don't have to, that's the beauty of it.
But would you really?
Yeah.
Imagine...
Just come in. Right, I'm home.
Oh, God. Something about you rubbing your hands together. Fucking Ginster's pasty in your mouth. Yeah. Oh, right, give me that WD-40. I'm going to go upstairs and gonna leather fucking hell. I think, no, what if it, like, have you ever seen Wallace and Gromit, the wrong trousers? Like, what?
Not that version.
But what if it marched you out in the street? Do you know what I mean? Just like, look what he's got me doing. Like that. Just you're kind of hanging off it. Nah. Ugh. No, not for me, Richard.
No, OK.
No.
And that's a no to the wanking off, this having sex in the...
No, I
game.
wouldn't even have sex with you if you were covered in tinfoil. But that's mostly for lightning fear.
Yeah. Stick it in the marriage vows, that's all I'm saying. Just to cover,
in
yourself. In the marriage vows, just go, I
Jesus,
promise.
I thought that was like a robot metaphor or something like that. Stick it in the marriage vows. Does that mean robot anal? What a pig you are, but a lovable pig.
Thank you. I wouldn't...
Would anyone else have sex with a robot?
Yeah, all of them would.
Okay.
No, this is the worst possible audience you could have asked that question to.
Obviously the women do, but you know.
These guys just waiting until the robots are here. That's the only reason they're here. And then once the robots are here, bang, we'll never see
But
them
women
again.
have been having sex with robots for years.
They have, yeah.
They just snapped the finger off
They
and
do,
just
yeah.
left the rest of it in the shed.
Yeah.
I'll be back for more when I need it.
Oh, I was going to ask you this about your TV show.
Hit me, sugar.
I should have asked you right at the beginning.
Yeah.
You know you got those chairs that are like newspapers?
Yeah. Do you want
like
them?
loads
Are
of...
yours?
I don't want them. Just often you're talking about something, getting something quite serious.
Yeah.
And then you cut back and then you're all sitting on chairs made out of newspapers. And
Yeah.
it seems too frivolous. Does it ever become awkward when you're sitting there going, oh, why are we talking about this serious thing sitting on some newspapers?
Well, I think it's
Should've
sort
got some
of
proper
it's a
chairs.
bit like sort of like Michael Gondry. Do you know what I mean? It's like that. It's just so lo-fi and so interesting, and just got to keep it the same. Do you know what I mean? We tried other chairs. It just wasn't the right vibe.
Are they comfortable, those
Yeah, they're really-
newspaper chairs?
they're really
Are there any real newspapers on there, or is it just all pretend? Or is it all real?
They're all real newspapers, but on the front of every cover, fake news has been written so that you don't show actual news stories.
Okay.
Because somebody would write in
Okay.
and say, oh, like, he's talking about this, and yet there's a story about whatever.
Yeah.
Weird. So it's just, They're really
Nice.
comfy. But yeah, everyone talks about them, that's the only thing.
I
So
think they're
always-
distracting. Sometimes I'm in deep into an interview and it cuts back. Are they in those stupid chairs? Get some normal chairs.
Yeah.
And I'm taken away from the interview by the chairs.
Sure.
So, you know, you're being upstaged by a chair. That doesn't happen in my podcast. I'm just
No.
telling you. If you take over this podcast, don't bring your fucking chairs. That's the one condition.
No, I respect that, Willy.
Thank you. If I'd been in the writer's room for more than 4 weeks, those chairs would never have gotten to town.
I mean, we had them for the 4 weeks you were there. And you said nothing. You just sat in the corner eating Haribo. Banging on about, come on, seriously, do you know what I mean? I mean, they look like women. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, dear. Right.
I'm not on about C3PO. I'm on about, like, can't tell. That's how Richard normally talks. He's like that.
That's me. That's me. to
Looking
a
at
T.
robots going, ooh.
Right, we're going to go. I have to say, I did the last time I saw you, and that's why I felt like I'd seen you more recently than that, because it doesn't feel like 7 years since we did this. It's insane. I saw you at a Scope gig last year,
Yeah.
which was you're absolutely excellent at. But what I really liked about it, and this doesn't very often happen at any gigs, but especially charity gigs, is you turned up right at the beginning, even though you were going to be on right at the end, and you watched everybody's act, and you were really terrific with all the younger comedians. And
I really love stand-up. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I find it so. But then you were the same when you came back. But no, you didn't just rock up and do it.
No.
Just, I honestly, I love. There's a guy called Jamali Maddox who I think is brilliant. There's a girl called Rosie Jones who I think is great, and you know, loads of others. I just find it like I tell you, he's incredible. God, he's funny. What's his name? John Cairns.
Oh, yes.
Is the comedian I saw, and I watched his show twice in Edinburgh, and I I absolutely loved it. What I loved about it, it was so left field, it was so deft. Every joke was just small and precise, but he was trying so hard to make anyone in front of him laugh. Whereas I feel sometimes like with more left field stuff, there's that kind of, sort of trust fund comic where like, oh, not good enough for you, is it? Whereas, a lot of comics, the gigs have to work, otherwise you haven't got any money. So you sort of respect people and crowds. I always find that thing of, oh yeah, did you not get that? Fair enough. There's a lot of that really winds me up. But he was so left field, but trying so hard to make anyone in front of him laugh. I just fucking loved it. Yeah. Also, nobody else could make it funny like he has. He's just got that, that ability. Just from the, and I'd never seen him. And he just walked on stage and he was going, how much? Pointing at his shoes, how much? And somebody go, I don't know, 60 quid. He went, £12 off. And then he was sort of fiddling with the mic for literally about 5 minutes. And then he eventually went, tense, innit? Tense. I love him. If you get the chance, honestly. But so that's why I've started going to Edinburgh again. Because for years I was afraid, and I thought everyone would, would not want me there, and I would feel like all kind of mainstream and awkward, and God, I'm not good enough. And then two things happen. You realise, wow, loads of people are shit, and like really shit. And there's loads of brilliant people, and you realise where you fit in, and you get to hang out with people like you, or people like Maxwell, or Andy Zaltzman, or whoever. And it's great, and you go, God, why did I impose this upon myself?
I think it's good to stay interested in comedy. I think that's the thing. If you lose your interest in other comedians and in comedy itself, it's what you were saying at the beginning. You won't be as good a comedian yourself if you're not interested in what you're doing. And
I love it.
Engage what you're doing, but also I think it's so important to stay interested in what other people are doing as well, and and then not be threatened by it because it's not a threat. It's not a threat.
It's really there's an amazing documentary about Gary Shandling. That is exactly that. That it's like, don't be afraid of anybody coming up because they just help them. And honestly, I really love chatting with like new comics and like having so our writers' room has expanded and people have come in. Kiri Pritchard McLean now writes on the show. She's amazing, really funny, and sort of views the world in a completely different way to me. And there's loads of young men and women that work on my show, and you just realise that they are. You need those people. You otherwise you're just this kind of like bitter old. No, don't need that. It's better my way. Do it this. So it's really you can have your, your world realigned by people rather than, just not wanting to engage with them.
Yeah, and you've always been honest as well, which some comedians aren't, about using other writers on your shows because obviously I think you couldn't do your show as a solo thing anyway. It would be impossible. But you've always given the credit to the writers as well, which I think is amazing because I think they're often program associates.
Well, this is the thing.
And no one knows their writers, and
the reason on every other show except for mine, they're called program associates, which means that you don't have to pay them the correct amount. Whereas if they're writers, they have to be paid more. So that's why they're called program associates. But program associate always means writer. And also, the first time I did the One show years ago with Adrian Charles, and he said, "Do you do all this on your own? Do you?" And I didn't know why. I was all nervous. And I went, I do, yes. And the guys were in a room, and I kind of came back the next day and I apologised, and I was like, I'm a fucking piece of shit. I'll never do that again. So I always mentioned Steve Williams and Dan Atkinson, Carl Mins when he worked on the show, and Kiri, because it was that thing of like, to save my fucking ego, I sold the people that write the show with me, and it just disgusted me. So I kind of, since then I've always done it. So yeah. That's why I do it. Because I couldn't do the show without them. Like Steve Williams has been there from day one and is just amazing. And that's why Steve Hall, who I also write the show with, and Steve Williams support me on tour. And it's great. So I get to see my mates do arenas, and I kind of really get off on that. Not as much as if I was watching Will fuck. But kind of enough.
Yeah. It's good.
I've really enjoyed this, man.
Good. It's lovely to have you back.
It's flowed everywhere.
Yeah. Well, that's what
we've done too long.
We've done just about a little bit too long, but enough.
That's all right, isn't it?
So yeah, we've done right. There's a clock here. They don't have that at the Leicester Square Theatre, do you? Clock.
I mean, is that where you left?
I'm going back in the. I'm going back in the autumn. I'm just doing a tour. It's lovely. Look, it's so lovely to have you. Come back in 7 years' time. Let me know how your marriage is going. And thanks for
Shake
coming
like
in.
that. That's how footballers shake.
Yeah.
You go like that, and then you go like that. Oh, sorry. You're right.
Ladies and gentlemen, Russell Howard! We'll be back for next week's show. Thank you. How'd you like them sky potatoes?